Okay, so I am working on show prep. Working on show prep. Alright, so this is just a political story. "34 killed in Madagascar in a bush crash." Well, that's something. China won't compromise over sovereignty. Xi Jinping. I guess it's worth mentioning. Man-made famine. Man-made famine. You know what? Let's go ahead and see Box's video on this.
A man approached me and started describing horrendous violence that has happened. He said government soldiers came in their village and killed his 5-year-old child. And we traveled to Clear County, and it was there that we crossed over just by a mile or two into rebel territory. And a man approached me and started describing the horrendous violence that had happened. He said government soldiers came in their village and killed his 5-year-old child and forced him to eat some of her body.
That's Jane Ferguson, a journalist who was just in South Sudan, covering a famine that's left about 100,000 people starving and 5.5 million more at risk. She was here in Unity, a state where the UN officially declared famine in February 2017. It's also where the worst violence in South Sudan's 4-year civil war has taken place, and that's not a coincidence. The violence has destroyed crops and markets and has forced people to flee. As a result, there's no food. In the past, humanitarian aid has been the best solution for famines, but today, the South Sudanese government is blocking access to much of the country in an attempt to starve the rebels. It's why South Sudan's famine is man-made. So are the 3 other famines developing in Nigeria, Somalia, and Yemen. Wars in these 4 countries are threatening to starve 20 million people.
No one country is the same, no one conflict is the same, but what we are seeing are some very dangerous patterns. The use of food, or the lack thereof, as a weapon.
Fighting groups in each country have created food shortages to starve each other. South Sudan became an independent country in 2011, but fell into civil war just 2 years later. It started as a personal rivalry between President Salva Kiir and former Vice President Riek Machar, but with each leader belonging to a different ethnic group, it soon became a tribal conflict.
What we're seeing now is this war almost cannibalizing, where it's disintegrating into smaller and smaller groups across the country. What we saw when we got there was clear evidence of ethnic cleansing.
The government has blocked humanitarian aid in parts of rebel territory, leaving millions of civilians trapped without access to food, and it's created chaos. The fighting has forced tens of thousands to leave their homes, often to the dense marshlands that surround cities.
It's such a good hiding place, but it's also a place where they starve to death. They have no means of finding food.
There's a similar situation in Nigeria, where the government's been fighting the Islamic militant group Boko Haram since 2009. The terrorist group controls large portions of Borno State, and it's responsible for mass killings, suicide bombings, and kidnappings in the region. The violent tactics have displaced nearly 2 million people and collapsed the agricultural economy. The Nigerian government restricts aid to keep supplies from reaching Boko Haram territory, where civilians continue to be at risk of starvation. Over in Somalia, another al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group, Al-Shabaab, controls at least 10% of the country. Getting aid to those areas has proven difficult as well. Back in 2011, during the last famine, the group killed aid workers and looted supply trucks. Now a drought has recreated famine conditions in Somalia, and limited access to humanitarian aid has made the situation worse. This time, Al-Shabaab claims that it will allow people to provide aid, but if they don't, millions will be trapped without food. The clearest example of a man-made famine is just north of Somalia, in Yemen. The civil war broke out in 2014. The government and a rebel group called the Houthis. They received weapons, personnel, and support from Iran. In response, Saudi Arabia, Iran's rival in the Middle East, intervened in 2015 on behalf of the government and began bombing Houthi territory, but also roads, bridges, and ports to block Iranian supplies. The Saudis also set up a naval blockade that keeps 85% of food supplies out of Yemen. Meanwhile, in the interior, 7 million people are at risk of starvation. Yemen's food shortage is caused by an internal conflict, but it's controlled by the geopolitics of the region. This makes man-made famines incredibly hard to solve.
So if it comes down to simply trying to save lives, that is something that needs to be done. Unless you cannot get access, unless there are warring sides who are trying to push hunger deliberately on people, and unless the food simply can't reach them. So if you get food to someone, they won't starve to death. That's
Oh gosh, alright.
But the crisis is only getting worse. Massive streams of refugees are overwhelming neighboring countries. Uganda's Minimini camp now holds 800,000 people, making it the largest refugee camp in the world. Overcrowded camps are breeding grounds, and cholera outbreaks have been reported across the world. It's why humanitarian groups are struggling to keep up. The UN reports that it needs $4.4 billion to address the famines, and they've only raised 14% of that thus far. But if the conflicts that are driving these famines aren't addressed, no amount of aid will solve these man-made crises.
When Hollywood does any kind of movie or TV show about counterterrorism, about spying, they tend to have Jack Bauer do something dramatic, and respond to something dramatic, and Carrie Mathison do something emotional and dramatic.
You said you had information about this happening.
But it's like one person in one dangerous place doing one
agreements with other countries. The best known of these is the Five Eyes Agreement between the US, Canada, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Australia. But the US also gets intel from countries that are geographically closer to terrorism hotspots.
Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Turkey, Israel.
These countries often have agents undercover inside groups like ISIS.
They get something valuable, they trust us. That can be either sending a phone call, drone imagery showing somebody that one country is looking for on the plot.
That was the case in 2010, when intelligence sharing between the US and 6 other countries stopped an Al-Qaeda plot to bomb 2 cargo planes en route to the US.
And what makes that all work, what kind of like greases that relationship, is trust. They believe that if they tell us a secret, that's safe.
One of the most important of these intelligence sharing relationships is the one between the United States and the Israelis. So, when the Israelis found out about a specific threat from ISIS, they planned to use laptops to bomb airplanes. The New York Times reports that the Israelis shared that information with the US, with the understanding it would stay secret. But the Washington Post reports that President Trump shared that information with the Russian foreign minister during his visit to the US. And in doing so, he seriously jeopardized that relationship with the Israelis. To understand why, you have to back up a little bit and look at what Russia is doing in Syria. President Trump has said Russia is a key ally in the fight against ISIS there.
I say it's better to get along with Russia than not, and if Russia helps us in the fight against ISIS, which is a major fight, and Islamic terrorism all over the world,
Right.
major fight, that's a good thing.
The problem is that in Syria, Russia's goal is not to fight ISIS. Russia's goal is to protect Bashar al-Assad. Russia fights ISIS only insofar as it sees ISIS as a threat to Bashar al-Assad.
And one of Russia's main partners in this objective is Iran, who the Israelis consider to be their greatest threat in the region.
The greatest danger of the hatred for the Jewish people and the Jewish state comes from the East. It comes from Iran.
For months, Israeli spies have expressed this fear that any intelligence they share with the US could end up, via Russia, in the hands of the Iranians. And now, those fears have been confirmed.
They no longer trust the CIA.
راساناس موسیقی هوی متال ایران رو هم به خوبی میشناسه و با بسیاری از هنرمندان ایرانی در ارتباطه.
داستان در صورت داره ولی خودم هم که اونجا بودم دوستایی که داشتم همین سبک موسیقی گوش میدادم مثل همین میدونم که اونجا طرفدار زیاد داره ولی خب نیستش که رسانه بهش برسونه اخبار اینا مثلا هیچ کس نمیدونه راجبش ولی اونایی که اونجا هستن رفتن بندا سعی کنم از طریق ایمیل یا اگه توی امریکا دارن بگم بیا دنبال من پیدا بکنن یا دادم بتونم اونجا موسیقیشون رو پخش کنم روی مایسپیس یا جایی که دارم بیشتر بشنوه.
goodness gracious. That's some terrible burping.
گوهر کنم شما گذر کنم ای تشنگان روزگای کنم.
Okay, so surprisingly, Vox did a decent.
شدی
An explosion at a mosque in the Afghan city of Herat killed about 30 people and injured a dozen more. Blast, which struck the Jawadi Mosque, coincided with evening prayers at 8 p.m. local time. Officials said there were at least 2 attackers, one a suicide bomber and another who shot at worshippers with a firearm. A spokesperson for the local governor told the BBC the death toll could rise. He said at least 29 people were killed, another 64 injured. both attackers dead. A police spokesperson, the governor's representative, said the attacker also opened fire on the mosque for detonating explosives. Reuters reported grenades were thrown, citing local police. State broadcaster in neighboring Iran, Irib, that 7 gunmen were involved. Said that 7 gunmen were involved? The report has yet to be confirmed by local sources in Afghanistan. No group has said it was behind the attack, which occurred in a predominantly Shia Muslim area. A spokesperson for the Taliban, which has struck Shia mosques in the country before, condemned the attack in a text message sent to reporters. Herat, close to the border with Iran, is considered one of Afghanistan's more peaceful cities. Okay, covered that. Okay, so we'll cover that. Well, we'll just mention this, cover this, let people see this, these and these. Okay. See. Okay. All right. All right. I think it's time to start recording. Okay. All right. Let's do... Hey, this is Gun Sully for the podcast. Oh, doggone it. Hey, this is Sully for antisocialnews.com, and today is August the 1st, 2017. Today is a Tuesday, and I am going to be walking you around the world, and we're going to be looking at stories that could impact people's lives. We're looking at... I'm just going to briefly talk about this. Because this is a situation that has been developing for quite a while, and also it's a situation that has a lot of attention in the West already. So there will be a link to the Times of India article about North Korea. Times of India has an interesting, a unique perspective on this because they are closer to North Korea than we are, and yet somehow they're not the main focus of. Or no, North Korea is picking a fight with us. So yeah, check out the article if you have not heard about the North Korea situation. I'd be surprised if you haven't. It's a pretty crazy situation that's been developing for a while. You know what? I'm going to start over. This is not a good record. I want this song though. I really want this song. Let me kill. Hey, this is Sully for antisocialnews.com. Body count report Tuesday, August the 1st, 2017. And I'm going to be walking you around the world to some of the biggest news stories that are going on that may impact human life. All the body count report is life or death struggles. North Korea has been threatening the United States, South Korea, and Japan for a very long time. This is very a developing story. It's been developing for years, decades really. So keep an eye on it. There's going to be a link to the Times of India story on the North Korea. Also, there's a lot of coverage of this one in the West, which is why I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Just to let people know, it is on my radar, as it should be on everyone's radar. Okay, moving on to Afghanistan, where there has been a horrifying blast. The Herat Mosque blast kills dozens in Afghanistan. They say there's at least 29 people dead. 64 people injured. You can see where the bomb has gone off here and just destroyed large parts of the mosque. According to police, there were two people. According to local authorities, and this is in a predominantly Shia area, according to local authorities, there were two attackers. But according to Iranian news, there were 7 attackers, which is a pretty disturbing difference, because if only 2 attackers out of 7 were killed, that means there's 5 attackers who just murdered dozens of people who are still on the loose and potentially going to murder more innocent people. So this is definitely a situation to keep an eye on out of Afghanistan, in the city of Herat, in predominantly Shia section. A Taliban leader has denied involvement or condemned the attack, but this is the type of attack that the Sunni extremists, such as the Mujahideen or Taliban, are known to do. So, moving on. The man-made famine story that I discussed yesterday, there was actually a very good Vox video on the subject of man-made famine, and it breaks down some of the news stories that I referenced yesterday. So check this video out. I've made fun of Vox a lot in the past for having some very narrative-driven reporting, but this is a pretty good spot that they put out there. So okay, broken clock's right twice a day. I will put a Vox link in there, and a body count news ready title on the South Sudan element of the man-made famine. South Sudan, too many bodies to count. From PBS NewsHour. Heartbreaking story. Obviously, link in the description. Check it out. Absolutely incredible. And this is really it. These are the biggest news stories that we are looking at the moment. I'm very proud to say I'm proud of what I'm doing here at antisocialnews.com. I'm proud of bringing these news stories to you. So if you are in any way enlightened by some of these news stories, please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to this channel as well. Also, at the 100 subscriber mark, I'll be giving away some free t-shirts, and then every 100 subscribers after that point will get some free t-shirts. So please subscribe and share the videos. These are not meant to be happy, fun videos, though I do like to show my big beautiful artwork there made by Ian Yabut. But I will say that this is a very serious subject that we're looking at, which is the fact that world news will ignore Western news will ignore serious life or death situations in the world, and I have to dig to find news stories, and when I do, I want to share them with people. And that's what this is about. This is about me sharing these news stories that I've found with you. So I'm gonna be sharing these news stories. I'm gonna be streaming my pre-show, which normally is going to be about 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'm going to be looking at Times of India, Times of Israel, Jerusalem Post, Irish Times, BBC, Telegraph, PBS. YouTube. I'm going to be looking all over for news stories that cover issues that are life or death situations around the world. So please like and subscribe. If you care about real news, not just celebrity gossip, which is what we get a lot of nowadays, please like and subscribe. And like I said, I start getting some feedback, I start getting subscriptions. I'm going to start mailing out t-shirts to people. I got Antisocial News t-shirts, and I want to start giving them out to people. Oh, you want to see the t-shirt? I'm not going to show you a t-shirt. You got to look at my other videos. Give those some views. I'm wearing it in the other videos. There you go. That being the case, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. There's going to be daily uploads during the week of Antisocial News. And this is Sully saying, I hope everybody stays safe out there. And cheers.